Hello, I'm Lizzie Phillips and welcome to the Networking Diaries. So the Networking Diaries is all about networking, as you can probably imagine. I like to share my secrets and stories. I have been networking now since 2007, if not earlier, actually. And as you can imagine, I've got quite a lot of networking stories and secrets to share. So this month's wonderful guest I have on is not new to networking. I was going to say, Anna, that you're just as old as me as it comes to networking, but I thought that might be a bit rude. So, Anna, would you like to introduce yourself to today's networking diary, and perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about your business?
So I'm Anna, and I run a company called Picodelic. So we're basically a digital consultancy firm based in the UK. And I do like networking now, I would say. But initially, when I first started back in 2008, it wasn't as great of an experience at that time. But yeah, it's nice to be here. And, it's nice to be invited along to Networking Diaries and share my experiences, because I think there's plenty.
Well, yeah.
Probably could write a book, Lizzie.
Yeah, well, that's what we're aiming for there, Anna. So let's kick off with your very first networking experience.
So the very first networking experience, I think, was way back in 2008. So I started the business along with my husband in 2006. 2 years down the line, we haven't done any networking, and I think I was super afraid to actually just do it. And I remember one of my friends, who's also a travel consultant, told me, you should be going to this networking group, because it's one way to actually promote your business. Because at that time I was already thinking, if I'm going to promote the business, it was just through Yellow Pages, through typical like magazines. So we've been spending at that time thousands of pounds just to be in these publications without actually getting anything in return. So with 2 years of doing that, something has to change, definitely. And this friend of mine, who's a travel agent, said, I'm going to this networking group. It's super informal. You don't need to be a member. Just turn up and enjoy the meal. So it was my very first experience. It was a sit down, about 50 people in the room. It's quite massive.
Big.
Yeah, it was quite massive.
Just throw yourself in the deep end, Anna.
Yeah, it was like that one. And now I think I remember the very first. I remember it completely. It's because it was a sign that I was like I was swimming in a big ocean full of fishes, and I don't know what I'm gonna do, because at that time they were also serving salmon for lunch, and I couldn't eat it because I was so afraid to actually speak. There's like 50, 60 people. Yeah. And it was like a mixed group as well. And the restaurant that it was held, it was in front of the new Scottish government office. So it's a very fancy place as well. And I don't know what to do, but it was a great experience, I think. And looking back, I couldn't even speak at that time. And it was like something.
So did you have to do your 1 minute pitch in front of everybody?
Yes and no. I think within the table, because there's just so many. So you stand up when you first arrive. You have your informal, sort of like catch up, or so to speak, like that. And then you get, because it's lunch, so you get to sit down, and you do get to speak within your table, I think. So it's like a 1 minute thing, but with it, because it's just so many, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So what kind of what was holding you back originally from doing a bit of networking?
Oh, well, I didn't know that's one way to actually do
in terms of marketing.
Because I came from Asia, and the way we do networking there is slightly different. It's not even termed. I don't think it's even termed as networking. It's just a natural thing. So to me, the concept was slightly foreign, but I've been doing it like all my life anyway. But it was like sort of like a foreign concept. But when I just realized it's the same thing as what before, but it's not termed that way, unfortunately.
Well, look, that's really interesting, actually. So what do they do in terms of, because obviously your business is international, So you do lots of different networking. I understand you do some networking in an online networking group in Singapore, obviously, as well as my own groups as well. But how does that fare from networking in other countries to the UK?
So basically the way, and this is based on experience because my family do have a business in Asia. And the way you do things there is you do meet up over like food, it's like normal. You catch up with family and friends and you talk about business every now and again, over food and bits of drinks and that sort of thing. But technically that's a networking, but it's more of an informal, really close relationship. But the problem is I didn't know the actual name for it, but it's like a common thing that we tend to do. So it's not anything different.
Yeah, it's just kind of not labeled in any way.
It's not labeled, and that's how you do things in Asia as well. Everywhere I go is similar. You start off a conversation through food and well, not so much drink, but I would say food. It'd be like a banquet or that sort of thing. You meet in parties.
So would you say food is obviously networking can carry lots of different forms? So would you say that food is a big element over there than it is here?
It is.
I'm liking the sound of that, I have to say. There we are. My husband already says I eat lunch for a living, but there is more to it than that.
There is more to it, and I think Asia, I would say yes, I would do that. And there's certain cultural aspects as well that you need to like eat quite a bit to actually, well, I don't know, but it's different. I could go on in different countries.
Yeah. So
you need to do.
Okay, so what would be a no to do in Asia when it comes to networking?
Talk too much, I would say.
Is there any form of etiquette over there, would you say?
I would say, like, for example, the best one would be in Japan. The best thing that you can do, especially when you meet people there, is that you hold your business card when you meet them. You hold it with two hands instead of one, and that's a sign of respect.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and don't put so when they hand off a business card to you, never put it in your back pocket, but you need to have, because that's why I always carry for my business cards a different sort of wallet just for it, just a sign of respect. So that's one difference, I should say, which is quite big.
Yeah, that's a really good fact. And I mean, do you think, talking about business cards, do you think that handing out business cards will change in a networking environment nowadays? It's interesting. I'm going back to face. I did a social last week and everybody started getting their business cards out. I was like, this is odd. And I was thinking, I better start getting mine ready, actually.
I would say there is a context to it. There's still an element that you need to have a business card. You're going to laugh at one of my experiences. And there's a reason for it, I would say. Because I was flying from Edinburgh to Mallorca on a project. And it was like an early morning thing. And I thought, no one will speak to me. But my the lady who was sitting beside me was slightly chatty, and I think she wanted to just speak to me. It's just because it's so boring, like 3 or 4 hours travel. So we started talking, and if you don't have a business card with you and you just have your phone, you can't really use your phone in an airplane like 30,000 feet up in the air. So I think there's still a bit of you still need it in certain situations, and I would still probably bring a few with me. Because you don't know. And some people, they don't have, they probably don't. I know, just give me your number or something like that, rather than put them on the phone. So I think the certain industries and I would say certain situations still calls for it.
There's still some form of sort of business exchange act, so to speak, isn't there, by exchanging business cards, even though you can now get these apps where you can scan the business card and it goes into your phone. There's something really tangible about that act of saying, can I have your business card? Which kind of leads me nicely on to Anna. We're going to be doing Networking Diaries story time.
Okay.
Okay, so at the Networking Diaries, we like to share our secrets and stories. So I thought we would share some stories today. So one of the stories leading on from the business, I'm going to be asking yours in a minute, Anna, but I thought I'd share mine. Quite interesting when you mentioned about business cards, which kind of leads me nicely onto my story this month. So I'm out shopping in John Lewis. I know, very posh for an Essex bird. And there's a little pop-up stall with a gentleman selling bespoke rum. I'm very much into spirits, so gin, rum. You can see where I'm going with this. A great little distillery. And I thought, oh, this would be really good for some of my members, actually. And I thought, oh, I could do, it's a local produce, do like a little bit of local produce. Thinking, oh, I can do some really good introductions with somebody else that I know that runs another distillery or a coffee making company, blah, blah, blah. And I said, have you got a business card? To which he said, no. I was like, damn you, really? I couldn't believe he didn't have a business card. He was there selling his produce and didn't have a card. And I was normally, pre-COVID, I used to have a stack of business cards. And I was very embarrassed to dig out a business card in my purse. And it was the most dog-eared business card you'd ever seen in your life. But the moral of the story for me is make sure you've always got business cards with you, because you just never know. Like you were saying, you never know who you're going to bump into. And there's something quite nice about exchanging cards. So that's my networking story this month. Anna, what's your networking story?
So basically, it's sort of like a networking thing as well, because I went into a sort of like a gathering for women who are in leadership in the EU. So it was held in Finland.
Yeah.
So, and
another great country there, Anna.
Yes, another great country. So one of the things that is quite important in with these things is that you do connect in as a social level as well. So the networking happens, I would say, at the social aspect. So apparently, sometimes because Finland is quite cold, and we were there during winter. It was January. So we had like a sort of like a catch up, like almost end of the week. It was sort of like a networking opportunity as well, but on a social level. But it was done in a sauna, and it was the first time I've done it, which is slightly different from the rest.
Yeah.
And apparently you do talk business every now and again in a sauna. But it was a traditional one, so it's like massive. It was a massive sauna. So they get to jump in the frozen Baltic Sea.
I didn't quite hear that correctly. In a sauna is what you're saying, Anna. Yeah, there we are. So that's a little bit too intimate for my liking. It's called really sweating out a deal, isn't it? There we are.
It was because it's a traditional sauna, so you can drink beer in there as well. It's so dark. I don't think it's more business at that time, but it's one way to actually, like, they do this, I guess, because they were telling me that the area that we were in, there's a lot of companies that use it for team building. So I think I assume that definitely it's all to do with building networks within the company. So I think that's how they do it. But it was slightly different experience.
Well, I can follow on from that. One of my members from one of my groups, and in fact, I think it was a sub. So obviously being locked down, everybody's tried to find a different space in which they can create in terms of a home office, so to speak. And anyway, so the gentleman logs on, and I was like, what is he in? Like, it looks like a really great wooden place. He got so fed up with being inside the house that he was sitting in his outside sauna. As a home office, it wasn't on, to be fair. But it just really made me chuckle. There we are. So we're now going to move on to today's topic, which is all around vulnerability, folks. That's vulnerability. So one of the things that I've learned recently, or during my time during networking, is when we go to networking, there is this perception that you have to kind of put on this massive bravado that everything is fine, everything's hunky-dory. In fact, we were talking about it this week that you may go to a networking event and you may meet some people. I don't know if you're kind of picturing in your head now someone that comes over and goes, yes, I do X, Y, and Z, and I'm so busy at the moment, I don't really need any more business. And there's an element of this kind of strange bravado that goes on when it comes to networking. And for me, I think it's about, showing vulnerability to your business. What's your thoughts, Anna?
I think there is, because we've both been doing business for a long time, and bit of help can sometimes go a long way. And when you're working for yourself, it's quite difficult to think when you're in that position. So when you're in a networking context, it's, to me, I sometimes ask, this is what I'm experiencing at the moment. So what are your tips? Because definitely they'll help you out. And I think because as a business owner, you actually go through almost the same sort of thing. So you tend to help as much as possible. And having that vulnerability in a networking context can help you in a way. So especially if at that time you're encountering a big problem in your business, for example. So I still do believe that you can say these things, and not all about sales in a networking context.
I think the biggest sort of error I come across is when members or visitors are in trouble in their business. And I'm not talking necessarily financially in sales. It could be that they've got problems with their employees. It could be that a new system isn't quite working, the website's fallen over, whatever it is. Quite often people won't share that problem with others. And as you were saying, a lot of people have different experiences in business. Some might be startup, some might be going for a while, but we've all been through quite often the same journey, just at different times. And really important to share those problems, because generally, as you were saying, somebody's already been through it. It can help you through it quicker and more painless. I'll give you an example of when I shared getting onto the topic of politics at the moment, but when the referendum Brexit happened, the number of inquiries for networking kind of plummeted. It had a massive effect on the London area. And I thought, right, okay, I've got to do something. What am I going to do? Because I'm not getting new people through the door. And I really let my guard down, and I said to members, look, it may look like I'm really busy, but I'm not. I need your help. And everybody really rallied the troops. And I think, if you are looking to do some form of networking, it's really important to share, especially particularly now during the pandemic. I know things are changing, but everybody's got a different problem. Some people have got the problem that they're too busy.
And then and honestly, I would say it's also a place where I do ask for support as well, in terms of I'm very busy, like I said, but there's also other issues because of the busyness. So I would ask if anyone can help me do these things. It's one way to actually to tell them, I need help on this one.
Or sharing ideas in terms of, look, these apps are really going to work for you if you're having this problem at the moment. There's loads of different things. Asking for help. Well, folks, as you know, with vulnerability, and as we've seen during the pandemic, we see the very best of people, and quite often we see the very worst as well. But general human nature is that we generally want to help. So don't be afraid of asking for help. There we go. You laughing at me there. There we are. Well, look, you're laughing because you know I've got loads of different stories. So we're going to leave it there for the best and worst of people.
50 chapters probably won't be enough.
No. I'd love to have you back, Anna. I thought it was a great topic in terms of networking in other countries. Just so that our lovely listeners know, how many countries have you networked in?
That's hard to answer.
That's a very long pause there.
Yeah, it's very hard to answer. I've been to like a lot of places, I would say. And I know like in September, I'll probably be doing a talk in Denmark, and that's on a networking context. I don't speak Danish.
Okay.
Or Norway. Okay. I think I couldn't remember now which country it is. Because you're on Zoom, so it
doesn't really matter, I guess. No.
Matters.
Well, that's the most amazing thing that's kind of come out of this, isn't it? Is that you can literally network anywhere now. So it's even more and more important to find out and kind of brush up on those networking skills. So I'm going to leave it there for today, which will but I'm going to set you a challenge, Anna, because you know I like to set you challenges. To actually network in another 3 countries by the time that I next see you.
Oh yeah, probably September. There will be like 3.
There we go. Okay. All right. I look forward to hearing from it. Thank you very much, Anna. And as I said, keep on networking with us. And do check out our networking diaries, which can be found on our I Want to Network website, as well as the I Want to Network and Kavara YouTube channel. Thanks very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.